What was once the Polk County Courthouse now serves as the Polk County History Center and houses the Historical Museum and Library. The museum serves Polk's community through special events, volunteer opportunities, and educational programs. More details are coming up next on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Tina Mann, and joining me in the studio today is Murtis Young, the Historic Preservation Manager at the Polk County History Center.
Good morning, Tina.
Welcome again.
Thank you.
So today we are here to talk about March, and it's going to be an exciting month at the History Center. So why don't we get started?
Well, the month starts just first weekend in March is Bloomin' Arts Festival.
It's always a fun time.
It is a great festival, and you know, the History Center is the host for the Quilt Show. So we will have the quilts on display, and that will be open Saturday this year. That's going to be March 2nd, and the show is from 10 to 4. So invite everybody to come down, take a look at those beautiful quilts. We have about 50 that will be on display, and the same day you'll be able to take a tour down to Oak Hill Cemetery. You know, we'll be wrapping up the tour pretty soon, you know, when the temperatures start getting high, so we only have a couple more months. So in March 2nd, again at 11 o'clock, join us at the History Center and take a walk down to Oak Hill Cemetery for a curated tour. You know, the cemetery is just rich in history about pioneers and veterans who served in different conflicts. Very interesting tour. So March 2nd, first Saturday of the month.
Absolutely, and it's your second to last chance to experience it for a while because it ends in April. I have to say something about the quilts real quick. When I first heard about the quilt show, I was like, quilts, meh. But then I went in there and I was like, how on earth do these people make these things? And I was shocked. I mean, it's a great thing to step into, you know, History Center. If it's cold, you can warm up. If it's hot, you can cool down and take a look at them and, you know, join the tour while you're there.
And it's like the Bloomin' Arts Festival. It's not that it's particularly judged by a professional judge, but it's judged by the participants. People get to vote on the quilt that they think is the prettiest or the most, I guess, the best crafted quilt. So it's judged by the public.
So last month we had this amazing exhibit opening for the Crossroads exhibit. Why don't you remind people a little bit about the exhibit and what's going on with it and what activities we have surrounding it?
We are so excited to be the host site for this. It is a Smithsonian traveling exhibit, and it comes to us as a coordinated effort. It's coordinated by the Florida Humanities Council, and it is just the greatest story about change in rural America. And it's from just how we've changed our living from being a rural society into more urban society. There are many stories about managing change and what change looks like and why we were drawn first to a rural society. Just a really great exhibit. And then of course I am so excited because this time, usually when we have a Smithsonian exhibit, we have a temporary exhibit that goes along with it. Well, this time we discovered a wonderful opportunity to curate a permanent exhibit that will be on display for a long period of time. Ryan Kordek in our Transportation Planning Office, we discovered had been interested in historical maps of Polk County, and for several years Ryan had been designing maps that depict the history of the development of Polk County. So we have taken Ryan's work and we've transformed it into an exhibit which will become a permanent exhibit. Now the nice thing about it, in March, Ryan will be our featured speaker at the Lunch and Learn, and he will talk about the period of time, his interest in the study of maps and the study of maps particularly in Polk County, and his work in doing this. It's really funny, he talks about, he's in a planning office. They think of the future. They look way into the future.
Right.
And he said this was a really interesting experience for him because it took him into the past, and he really enjoyed doing that. We've enjoyed working with him, and also Shonda Bennett in that office, who's introduced us to the history and the stories that land use maps tell us and soil maps tell us, and that's the exhibit. It's just really neat. You know, sometimes things just have a wonderful way of coming together, and when we saw that the Smithsonian exhibit was entitled Crossroads, and I started thinking about, my goodness gracious, our logo is the Crossroads logo. So we thought, what a perfect collaboration between the county's emphasis on Crossroads, history and future, and the Smithsonian. So I'm just really pleased about this. So the exhibit will be actually on display until March 15th, the Smithsonian exhibit. So just a couple more weeks to see that, but the county's exhibit, our Crossroads maps, will be on display permanently.
That's awesome. And it's important to note that I know there's been some people confused a little bit about Lunch and Learn. This is basically still a Lunch and Learn. It's just called something different. So right now it's the Crossroads Lecture Series. So that's going to be on Tuesday, March 19th this year at 12:15.
Correct.
So everybody wants to do that. So what about our young learners? I know they're going to be having a Crossroads experience themselves.
Well, they are. As a part of the exhibit, we are creating, it's an interactive opportunity for them to come into the exhibit. They get a little backpack with some tools in it, and they're going to actually be able to figure out how to design a map. Because, you know, some of the artifacts in the exhibit will be platting tools and surveying tools, so we're going to try to teach our young learners, I guess, how to become little surveyors.
Excellent. And also, we have our History Time Tots going on, so why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
History Time Tots is a fun program developed by our Curator of Education, Cynthia Alley. And the idea behind that was to give mothers of young children an opportunity to come to the History Center kind of after breakfast time and before lunch and nap time. So it's the first one in March is March 2nd. Again, Blooming Arts, Cemetery Tour. That Saturday's a busy Saturday. So it's at 2 o'clock on Saturday, and it's an opportunity for them to hear the story of Mapping It and Me on the Map is the book that we'll be reading, and then it'll be offered again on Tuesday, March 12th, and that's at 10 o'clock. So it's a fun little program about me on the map, how to find where we're located on the map.
So March also continues the Race and Culture Lecture Series that we've begun. So tell me about our speaker for March.
Our speaker for March is going to give us an opportunity to think about and talk about and learn about the culture of the Native American community. So Jim Sawgrass is going to present a program. It's called Southeastern Encampment. So we'll learn about the tools, the weaponry, housing, type of clothing worn by Native Americans, and really one of the important parts of this program is it's an opportunity to learn historically about the culture, but again, the purpose of this series is to give us an opportunity at the end of the lecture to have conversations about the differences in our cultures and the differences, how we were the same and how we were different, and actually talk about that. And that's the idea behind conversations and the Race and Culture Lecture Series. So March is going to be Sawgrass, feature Jim Sawgrass, who is a native Floridian. He's a member of the Muskogee Creek Indian tribe.
Excellent. And as a reminder, these are at nighttime. So this is Tuesday, March 12th from 5:30 to 7:30.
Correct.
So it's after work, so it's a great time to come visit and, you know, learn about some new cultures.
And like Lunch and Learn, we're recommending, you know, you've just gotten off work, pick up a snack, bring a sandwich, you know, don't feel like you're going to have to go without food. Bring snacks and beverages and enjoy the program.
Or take the time to go to dinner afterwards and have some fellowship.
Correct, correct.
Excellent. So March also marks Women's History Month. So what are we doing to honor women?
Well, you know, we have so many different stories in the museum about our accomplishments of women in Polk County. And what we do during that period of time, we'll just focus on some of those exhibit areas. Cynthia will create either a scavenger hunt or a curated tour that will take people to specific areas in the museum. We spoke about the Quilt Show that's coming up at the beginning of March. Well, we have a quilt on display in the lobby that was actually designed and fabricated by two special people in Polk County. So that quilt will be probably a feature of how women have contributed to the preservation of our history. Keatley Stringfellow designed that quilt and actually cut the quilt and put that thing together. So, you know, areas like that where women can be recognized for their contributions either in early history or preservation.
We've done a lot, haven't we? And then also they have an opportunity for the architectural tour as always, which will be on March 16th. Tell us a little about that.
Well, you know, it's one of my favorite things we do. We have an opportunity for people to come to the museum and walk around with the curator and actually learn about specific things about the architecture, but also about the preservation, the restoration of the building and the preservation. And I think in March is when we actually are going to have the story about the fireplaces that were built in the museum in its original when the building was built in 1908, there were fireplaces. Well, those have been put out of service, but it's kind of fun to go back and find them and recall where they were located. So I think we're going to have a little discussion about the fireplaces. I noticed one day I was outside and I looked up and I thought, there's a chimney. What is the deal with the chimney? So we contacted the preservation architect, and sure enough, he sent us a drawing of the location of those original fireplaces and where they were.
That's funny. I was about to say, I know I've walked through there and I've never seen any fireplaces, but now that you mention it, I have noticed that on the outside of the building. So that'll definitely be an interesting time. And I know when Cynthia was here, she was mentioning about they're researching the bell falling. So
right.
They're still working on that. So that's what I love about you guys is you're constantly looking for ways to make this tour different, and the people can actually participate and ask questions, and if the question isn't something you can answer, y'all look into it, and it's really neat. So that's about all the time we have left for today. So I thank you for coming out. It's definitely going to be a fun month to go to the History Center.
It is, and thank you for allowing us to come and talk about it.
Polk County has a rich history and heritage, and the Polk County History Center is continuously thinking of new ways to help Polk residents experience that history. The museum's collection includes natural and cultural objects related to Polk and the greater Central Florida area that represent our history from pre-Columbian to present-day eras. The artifacts on display at the museum represent individuals, cultural groups, and events significant to the region. Located at 100 East Main Street in Bartow, the History Center is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. For more information about exhibits and events, you can check them out on the web at polkhistorycenter.org or give them a call at 863-534-4386.